Okay, I'm here with my friend and your friend, Mr. Bill Marcy. I'm at Callan Road Baptist Church in Gulfport, Mississippi. Bill, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, sir.
Well, I was born and raised not in the state of Mississippi. I was born and raised up north, but I got back home quick as I could. Dad's from Meridian, and Mom is from Memphis. And they raised me and my little sister up there, and we came back around the 70s, and I've been here off and on ever since. So, life is good. I'm a politician to be, because I want to control the idiots that we have up in the Congress or the State House.
Okay.
And somewhere along the line, we got to get some folks up there.
Well, what are you wanting to change Are you running for state office, federal office?
Well, I'm not running for anything right now, but I'm thinking about it. Deadline is February 27th. And if you're going to do something, you got to do it then. So I'm still chewing on it.
And what are you thinking about running for?
Well, it'll probably be a state office, because that's where the state races will be this coming up. But the most important thing I can say is I want to make sure government leaves folks alone. We were talking earlier about constitutional carry. Constitutionally, our Second Amendment says that any legitimate citizen has the right to carry a weapon. The problem is they think it's a privilege, and they're going to tell us when, where, and how much it's going to cost us. I think that's right.
Well, I know it's rather costly in Mississippi. A concealed weapons permit's $132, and I don't have one.
And I understand it. And then you got to do a course. Okay?
You got to do a what?
A course. You have to go get, if you want the enhanced.
Oh, for the enhanced carry, yes.
That's another $150.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're up to about $500 now. And that's just money that Mississippians, Louisianans do not need to pay, because the Second Amendment already gives you a right to bear arms, openly or concealed. Bearing arms mean, and it says that the government shall do nothing to infringe.
Shall not be infringed.
Where I come from, infringement, you can't tell me if I can or I can't, as long as I am an honest, law-abiding citizen.
Right.
So what we want to do is, the old idea, I've been blessed. I want to make sure that those rights are protected.
Okay. What other laws are you interested in adding or repealing, or what exactly are you wanting to do when you get to Jackson?
Well, anything that the federal government mandates we do that's not outlined in the Constitution that they are allowed to handle, I want them out of my business. I want them out of the state's business. So the Constitution of the United States gives them about 8 things that they're responsible for doing. One of them is Border Patrol. And that happens to be the last thing they're doing. Okay, so what we would want to do is tell them, you go do what the Constitution says, and the Constitution says, anything else that's not outlined over there is left to the states. And that's what we have.
And that's defined in the 10th Amendment.
Well, it's defined in the 9th and the 10th Amendment, because they got in the 9th, they said basically, unless we miss something, it's the state's responsibility. The 10th said, in case we miss some more, it's a state responsibility. But federal government has decided to take it all and tell us.
Well, in your opinion, where did we go wrong?
Well, we went wrong by going to work and kind of not paying attention. Okay?
No, I'm talking about as far as a nation getting away from the Constitution and allowing the government to overstep its boundaries. Where did we go wrong and allow that to happen?
Well, it was a slow process. In the beginning, and we'll go back to history, but in the beginning, that we were very careful about allowing power, because we had a king of England.
Right.
He was ultimate power. He could just look at you and say, off with your head. Okay? But so we decided we don't really want that ever again. But then we started thinking that Big Daddy, big government, was a nice thing to have if they were able to treat us nicely. Well, the problem is, every time you give big government or Big Daddy something, he wants something in return. He wants your freedom. You have very little say. So what I want to do is get back to the point where government responds to us. So where did we start? I mean, it's long before we were on this planet. But guess what? Right now, we can control it. We can take it back from them right now.
Okay, when you get to Jackson, excuse me,
that cough, really has somebody take a look at that.
Yeah, I got a little cold yesterday when I was in New Orleans. Um, when you get to Jackson, what do you expect from your colleagues?
Well, I think my colleagues are going to be really concerned that I'm there because I'm not going up there to join the group. I don't need no friends in Jackson. I got a lot of friends in the state of Mississippi. I'm going up there to represent the people. So in the unfortunate government right now, the most important thing we need is folks to go up there and say no. Not yes. Anybody can say yes, let's spend some more money. Let's tax the people some more. Yes, let's take some more rights for yes. But when somebody's up there that says no, I want you to account for what I gave you already. And once you give me a good count on what you got already, then let's look at how much more.
Okay. Let me ask you, there's a big deal going on in Mississippi about legalizing marijuana.
Yes.
I know I've just seen a few blurbs on the news about it. I hadn't seen too much, and it seems like, I guess if WLOX is reporting on it, I guess it seems like it's there's pretty good effort for it.
Absolutely.
What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I'll probably go shock some folks here, but I always shock folks, so get ready. Okay? Right. I'm for legalization of pot. Now, that doesn't mean I agree with smoking dope. Okay?
Right. I'm for it myself, and I've never touched a drug in my life.
Well, I wish I could say that. Okay, I've drank a little too much liquor sometimes, and I've probably done some other things that the statute of limitations run out on. But the most important thing, and praise the Lord for that, but the most important thing is that if a grown adult, I'm not talking children, now don't confuse it with children. If a grown adult decides to take poison and put it in their system, I don't think we should bankrupt the state of Mississippi or the federal government trying to stop him from doing something that he will insist on doing to himself. And that's coming from a former law enforcement officer. Okay, I worked many years in law enforcement. I stopped many guys out in the street with illegal drugs. And I realized that it didn't take long to realize this is a game I don't want to play. Because number one, you got one individual who has a product and another individual who wants that product. And as my job as law enforcement, the government has to get in between them. And you can't. And the only thing, every time I get in between them, the price goes up. And the price goes up makes the guy want to sell more. So I believe it is very simple. If you want to do
supply and demand, and then it's all, it being contraband is the reason why it's such a violent.
Absolutely. Get out here on I-10 and look at all the police cars that are in the center divide or on the side of the road, waiting to try to catch the next load going through. How much of our tax dollars are being wasted out there?
Quite a bit. That's every county deputy. Harrison County Sheriff's Department sits right up here on I-10.
That's right.
And they're not running radar.
No, what they're running
because it's illegal for the county to run radar in Mississippi.
Here's another thing that we need to get straight at Jackson or Washington, but I think Jackson can have it, is that this idea of unconstitutional confiscation of somebody's property because the deputy or the city council thinks that you have earned something, that you had earned this money some legal way. In other words, if I'm running, one year I was going to buy myself a motor, and I had a little bag full of money. I had been saving up most of my life, and the guy said, "I'll give you a good deal if you pay me cash." I said, "I'll bring the bag." Now, if I had been stopped out I-10 and I had $10,000 in my bag, the deputy sheriff or the state trooper might take it. More likely, he would take it. Now, I would have to go get a lawyer. Now, I've done nothing wrong. I would have to go get a lawyer to get my $10,000 back. It would probably cost me more than $10,000 to get my $10,000 back. Now, why did he take it to start with? Okay? Because we don't have the people in Washington, people in Jackson to say, no, don't do that.
Yeah. All right, what do you think about Common Core?
Common Core is probably the biggest game that they're trying to whip on us right now. Common Core is a way of getting the government to put out a curriculum that will brainwash our children. I think the people of Mississippi can raise and educate our own children.
Okay.
We don't need somebody else from Washington.
All right. Mississippi ranks dead last in education. Absolutely. We've been fighting Louisiana for dead last for years, even since I was in school, and I graduated in 2001. how would you improve, or how would you go about trying to improve education in Mississippi?
Well, it's a little more complicated, but let me give you the simple answer. The simple answer is we are paying about $8,000 to $10,000 a year per child. Before we do anything else, I want to know where that money goes. Because $10,000 a child, you got a classroom.
Is that a year? Is that
a year? So you got a classroom with 30 little smiley faces.
Right.
Okay, that teacher now has $300,000 for one little classroom and to pay her in books. I want to know what happened to the $300,000. Don't tell me about the district. Tell me about that one classroom, and we'll multiply that. And when you do that, then they don't want you to know that. You do that, you find out none of that money, or less than half of that money that we're giving to our children, educated children.
Is that all over the state, or is that just what the state gives, or is that some districts give more? Or how does that work?
There are some counties that give as much as $12,000 to $15,000 per child.
Okay.
But the average is in place from 8 to 10.
Okay. Well, this is basically what I was getting at.
Mm-hmm.
I went to school at Biloxi.
Yes, sir.
All right. I've got cousins that live up in Kemper County.
Mm-hmm.
And you know where Kemper County is.
Just north of Lauderdale, right north of my daddy's home.
Yeah, well, they lived right there in Damascus.
That's right.
They would actually send their kids to Neshoba Central. Mm-hmm. They send them to Neshoba County.
Right. Because
the education system was better.
I'll give you an example on that. Now, you understand up in Kemper County and Neshoba County, Kemper County and Neshoba County especially, gets tax dollars from the casinos that the Choctaw Indians run.
Well, I know Neshoba County does. I didn't know about Kemper.
Well, Kemper gets a part of that too. But Kemper gets money from the state budget as well as the property taxes. And the question is, and they average about $8,000 to $10,000. Now, probably in Neshoba, they get about $12,000 to $15,000.
Right.
But the bottom line is, you can't figure out where that money is. Okay? So if we start to talk to our state superintendents and say, look, here's the deal. You don't get no more money until you tell me where the money I gave you already went and how much of it ends up in the classroom. I had one good friend of mine said, who's been involved in education for years, he says, Bill, they pay a consultant $1 million a year, any consultant, if they come up with a strange plan, like let's teach the alphabet backwards, okay? And
I'm in the wrong business.
Exactly. So you can get $1 million grant. That's just a cash check. Okay, to go into 4 or 5 schools and
where do I apply
A,
for
B,
this
C,
job?
D, E. You get ZX, and you get $1 million. Okay.
Where do I apply for this job at?
Just about any county, as long as you the right guy. Okay. But I'm just telling you, what we need to do is for us to increase our school is we need to make sure we know where the money goes. Because our kids are not getting it.
So you would want to audit the state treasurer or the State Department of Education.
Department of Education in every district school.
Okay.
I want to know wherever, I was a businessman for a little while. And one of the things I wanted to know every day is where every one of the pennies in my company was. I don't want you to round off no numbers. I don't want you to eliminate the pennies. I want to know exactly to the penny where.
Now this is something else I'm wondering about. Would you want this done if you were to audit? And I know you said education, but I would like to see the entire state budget audited.
Absolutely.
Would you like to see that kept in closed session, or would you like to make that public record?
No. When they took the money from us, they didn't take it in closed session. Okay, so when they spend the money, it shouldn't be in closed session. It should be transparent. There should be a website that anybody can go on at any time and see where that money is. Who got a check and how much was that check for? Who got paid what and why did they get paid for it? There is no reason that can't be done right now today. The only reason is they don't want you to know where that money is and who's getting it. Okay? So we can just go through every agency of government, state government, and we can put a fine pencil to every one of them numbers. And once you do that, then people can say, why are you paying your cousin $150,000? Why are you paying your uncle $100,000? Why is your next door neighbor got a contract? See, at that point in time, transparency makes us ask questions.
Yes.
As long as they keep us in the dark, we just have to assume that they're doing the right thing.
Well, I've made it a point never to assume that any bureaucrat is doing the right thing at all. I don't care what the bureaucrat is.
They don't. But unfortunately, we got some good people. But it only takes, like in the county, it only takes 3 bad ones on the board of supervisors to do crazy things.
Right.
You have we elect our superintendents of a lot of our county schools, and guess what? That's probably the worst way to do it, because he gets paid by the number of people he got on the payroll. The more people he got on the payroll, the more votes he's gonna get. Why are you gonna do it? You gonna vote for a guy who's hired you? Of course not. Not only are you gonna vote for him, but your family, your uncle, your mama, your dad, everybody said, well, Bill got a job working with the school board, they ain't doing nothing, but we gotta keep Bill employed. So let's go vote for superintendent's orders. That's crazy. Okay? What we need to do is vote for we need to be able to vote for somebody who's gonna appoint a superintendent that we can hold responsible. The school failed, you're fired.
There you go.
Okay?
That's the way it should be. That's not just the school, but anything. If you're not doing your job, you're fired.
I'm a simple man from Mississippi heritage, and I know how things work. Big businesses work the same way as little business. Government works the same way as businesses. As long as you know where your money is, you can make good decisions. But if you don't know where your money is, when they won't tell you, when they won't give you the payroll, they won't tell you how much somebody is making, that's when they're taking.
Absolutely. All right, well, Bill, thank you. Is there anything else you want to add to this?
I just want to tell folks, it's just not about Bill Marcy. It's about us. So, if Bill Marcy decides to put his name on the ticket, because Lord knows I've been blessed. I've always said that I will I will offer myself to my governor, my state, anytime I think it needs me. And I think we not only do we need me, we need some other folks who are going to talk straight to these politicians, put them back in their place. There ain't no popularity contest. Like I said, if good folks in Mississippi, in whatever capacity, decide to send me somewhere, trust me, when I go up there, I'm not looking for friends. I'm going up there to do something very different, represent you, because you're my friend.
All right. Thank you.